that for me as a kid, theater was the thing that kept me going, that made me happy. I've seen firsthand again and again how much joy and confidence theater education can do for kids.
Hi, I'm Brooke Papritz. I use she, her pronouns, and I am playing Junie B in Junie B. Jones. So I'm sure at some point growing up, I read the Junie B books. I don't have any really clear memories of being in love with her as a child or anything, but my first year at Playhouse back in 2015, I was part of the other Junie B musical touring show, and I played Bossy Head May in that. And that's kind of how I got familiar with Junie B, and she's just so fun and crazy. I love it.
My name is Grace Sopko, and I'm playing Lucille, Mother, and Mrs. Weller, and I use she, her pronouns. Yeah, I definitely read the books as a kid. I feel like that's pretty standard, read them in elementary school, and I think it's fun to kind of get to revisit an elementary school favorite as an adult and look at it in a different lens and get to kind of touch back with your younger self.
Hello, my name is Mark Gill. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I am playing Sheldon, Gladys Gutzman, and Grandpa in Junie B. Jones. Well, those are my two favorite things, theater and kids. Love it. And to put them together is win-win for me. But when I started doing theater here in Memphis, I was doing conservatory here at Playhouse and after-school acting program. Just really kind of getting myself involved with kids. At that same time, I was a teacher at the Memphis Grizzlies Preparatory as a theater teacher. And then when I moved to Minneapolis 6 years ago, I started working at the Children's Theater Company. And that's what I did mainly for the last 6 years.
I think she's a character kind of in the same vein as Amelia Bedelia, where they're funny characters to children and children can relate, but also it's a fun story for adults to read to their kids as well.
I think that I think Junie B. Jones gives a lot of the joy. It really looks through a child's lens of the world, but it's still, I think Junie B. Jones really humanizes children, and especially as adults, we forget that children are tiny little humans, and so it has all the joy and the sparkle and wonder of looking at the world through a child's lens, but still gives that sense of reality and isn't too sugarcoating over the top. It's a real story about a real kid.
You don't really think of it, but there's so many other aspects of life that go into children's theater or having children involved in children's theater. Is it speaking in front of an audience? Is it gaining confidence? Is it learning how to use your imagination or not be so serious all the time, to be a little bit more silly and carefree? There's so many lessons and so many tools that can be gained from doing children's theater.
As an actor, it's kind of fun to play a character like Junie, because even though this is a kid's musical, she's a very complex character. She has a lot of feelings, she's got a lot going on, and she deals with a lot of issues that I think are going to be relatable to people across the board. Even though she's a first grader, she's a really interesting character, and I think is someone that an audience can really fall in love with.
Mother is, I think, kind of the most grounding adult character in the show, especially in the end. Junie B is able to find a lot of comfort through her mom, and that's kind of been the defining thing for Mother, and which is very different than Lucille, who is the bright, fun, not always right there kid, but really loves and knows everything there is to know about fashion and finding the difference in the fun, loving little kid and the adult to really ground some of the moments in the show.
So I would say that Sheldon is kind of maybe a by-the-books type of person, follow the rules. But Sheldon likes to have fun. He likes spectacle. He likes parades and celebration. That's one thing that really fuels Sheldon and gets him kind of amped up. I don't know. I feel like Junie B. Jones is kind of like all of us. Sometimes she's impulsive, sometimes she's quirky, she's always wanting to do the good thing, but maybe doesn't go about it the right way, or the most ideal way.
I feel like the first Junie B musical almost it covers more of like the classic vignettes of Junie B, whereas this one has a little bit more of a through line, and it's kind of following Junie B, learning how to deal with her emotions and how to, like I said before, like interact with others and deal with like the jealousy bug, and comparing herself to her peers and feeling like her ideas and her creativity maybe isn't as amazing as her classmates. It's really kind of like in some ways, a coming of age story. Like she's really starting to grow up in this show. Oh my gosh. I mean, Daniel is like my person at Playhouse. We got here around the same time, almost 8 years ago now. And like whenever I do a show with Daniel, I know that it's gonna be a blast and we're gonna like have so much fun, and I will never say no to working with Daniel. I love it. Daniel and I both come from a background in show choir. So like Daniel's choreography and Daniel's sort of like style is a lot of my style too. Like we have like very similar styles in that way. So I love it. Like I feel like I can latch onto his choreo really quickly, and like the way that he just like weaves things together really makes sense to me. So I mean, I love doing it. And he's gonna give us a workout too. So that's good. Built into the day.
I have a line as mother about not being a bad kid, just being a kid. Just because a kid has a hard time in a certain area of life just makes them a person and a kid. And I like that this show takes that on.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. If not for just the kids, I think the parents are going to get something out of it too. If not laughing along with us on the stage, they're going to enjoy seeing their kids, having a good time.
I hope that the adults in the audience get a reminder of how much joy and light there is in the world through a child's eyes.
I also think that there's a lot, like I said before, with just the lessons in this show for both adults and kids to take away. But more than anything, I just hope they have fun.